It's been an entire week since I've done a Facebook Live. It's amazing how when you're used to doing 3 a week on average, that when you miss a few, you feel a little out of sorts. But I am happy to be here. I have to be honest, it's been more than a week actually, because I had a Facebook Live planned for last Wednesday. I had my friend Donna here and we were doing the final packaging for my creative escape weekend. And I worked right on through the evening and completely forgot about that Wednesday Facebook Live. And then of course my creative escape weekend was Friday through Monday. So I missed those 2 Facebook Lives as well, but I had a great weekend. These creative escape weekends happen twice a year in the Cincinnati, Ohio area. Great fun. I just love doing them. Such a great sense of community and friendship. And if there are new people, I feel like I make new friends. If there's people that's been around for a while, I feel like I always learn something more about them. And it's fun to be reunited over our crafting. So it was a very successful, fun weekend for me. It was at a new venue and I could take more people and everything went just fabulously. So that was a big relief. But that does put me a few days behind. I'm tired and just a little off schedule. So this Facebook Live tonight is going to help me get right back on schedule. So welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. I'm glad you're here. I have a fun card to show you today with some new product. One is the Catching Butterflies stamp set that you can earn free with a $50 purchase. I'll also be using the, and I always forget the name, Stitch with Whimsy dies. And I'm going to be introducing you to a new set of Stampin' Blends that will be available to order soon. So while I'm flipping my camera around right now, I'm going to ask you to share this live video and invite others to join in our creative fun tonight. Okay, as I mentioned, Catching Butterflies is the featured product for tonight's Facebook Live card. And I'll also be using the Stitched with Whimsy dies. These are super fun and you're going to see how I use these. They don't actually cut, they just make this fun, whimsical stitched border around your cardstocks. And then finally, when we make the second card, I'm going to use the dies from the Sweet Conversations bundle to turn our Catching Butterflies card into a fun Valentine's Day card. And before I show you my sample card, I want to show you these Stampin' Blends. This is a new collection of Stampin' Blends that is coming, oh gosh, I believe in February you can start ordering, but demonstrators had the opportunity to pre-order them this month, which is what I did. And what I want to show you about these is they are intended for using for skin tones. And so they don't have a color name associated with them. You buy them in pairs and they go from numbers 100 and every 100 increments, 100 to 1,000, and you can see all the different shades we have here. In the past we've used some the ivories and the petal pink and maybe some of the soft suede and the crumb cake at times, trying to create different skin tones in our stamped images. And this is going to help us do that. So it's 5 pairs that will sell, I believe, for $9 each. And those are coming next month, I believe. But please note that they are numbered. So I think what I'll do is make a chart that I'll put out for everybody as a PDF so that when you are ready to purchase these, you have a way of keeping track of them and can color in the skin tone blend beside each correct number. So we will be using these a bit tonight, but this is my sample card. And I want to show you on here that I used the number 300 Stampin Blends. So not even quite to the middle. And actually, I had a goof on this one. You can see I don't know what I did with my stamping. So obviously this is not becoming a card, but I wanted to show you here, this was number 300 and this is number 500. So you can easily get the skin tone color you want, and I think that's fabulous. I'm happy to know that all of my customers, their children, etc., will be able to color and create images who look like them or look familiar to them. And definitely something we need to be teaching our children as well. So I'm excited that we have all these fun colors to represent different skin tones. All right, let's get started creating. The first thing I'm going to pull out is my Big Shot, no, not the Big Shot, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I have pre-cut some cardstock to use with my Stitched with Whimsy dies. So this first one, and this is the largest die in that set, this first one piece of cardstock measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's going to give me just a small border of my white card base when I add this to it. And again, if you haven't seen these or used these before, they do not cut. They simply make this fun, whimsical border around the outside of your cardstock. So there's one, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on my next piece. And this one measures 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. Actually, I should make a chart of the Stitched with Whimsy dies, because you can see there are several, and it would be helpful for people to know what the measurements of these different ones are. I'll try to remember to do that later this week. Does anybody have the Stitched with Whimsy dies? I really wasn't sure if I would like them. I kind of held out for a while, but sometimes curiosity gets the best of me, and I just need to order and try it because I like to know what I'm selling to my customers. But I have found them to be lots of fun. So now I'm ready to stamp. I'm going to stamp with here's the image from the Catching Butterflies stamp set. And I'm going to stamp with black Memento ink. Now, this came up this weekend at my Creative Escape, and a woman was using a very large stamp, and she wanted to ink it up, borrow an ink pad. So I gave it to her, and she said, oh, but the ink pad's not big enough for the stamp. So in other words, her rubber stamp was larger than my ink pad, and it happened to be a Stampin' Up! Classic ink pad like this. But what I showed her was sometimes with the largest stamps, it's easier to add your ink this way. And again, hers was quite a bit larger than this. But if that's the case, think of applying the ink the opposite way that we typically do, okay? I'm gonna put this gal right in the center. Hold it down a few seconds. And then I'm going to add some butterflies as well. Now this is smaller, so I won't be doing that the same way. And in this set, there's also a single butterfly, which I think is a lot of fun to use. These butterflies would also be wonderful for stamping your, oops, darn, got an edge there. Would also be wonderful for stamping your envelope. So you can do a whole group or do a few. And I need my lid here. The stamp set comes with what I call my little bit of grass. And I'm going to stamp this right under her feet. And I'm going to stamp it in a few places just to add some dimension to what we're doing. Now on my first card, I used my blending brushes to add some grass and some sky. I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to go ahead and start coloring in other parts with my Stampin' Blends. And because I'm using this balmy blue, I thought I'd go ahead and make her dress a pretty balmy blue as well. It doesn't have to match. Here I matched the polished pink, but it doesn't have to match. It can be absolutely whatever you want it to be. But sometimes guessing means I just, matching means I take the guesswork out of what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to find a way to cover up that little boo-boo right there. So that's a pretty blue dress. And I think I will use daffodil and pumpkin pie for the butterflies. So for that, I'm just going to quickly color in the butterflies. Now for you who don't like to color, please don't ignore the stamp set, because as you can see, the coloring here is quite easy and goes very quickly as well. And wait till you see how quickly I add the second color to my butterflies. Although I do like the brightness of just the Daffodil Delight by itself. Now I'm using pumpkin pie, and I'm just kind of dotting some color to add to each of the butterfly wings. This is a fun spring card, so if you're cold wherever you are, or it's been snowy, this is a fun reminder that spring will come again, right? I'm also going to add just a little blue to her eyes. I know those are really the whites of the eyes, but I just wanted to give it a little color. Now I need somebody to pick a skin tone shade for me. Some of these. So I have numbers 100, 200, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 900, and 1,000. So I need somebody to pick one of those skin tones. Pam, hello, and thanks so much for sharing. I did hear you had a good bit of snow in North Carolina. Hi, Jeanne and Becky. Who else is here tonight? Julie, Jenny Graber. Hello, Jenny. I saw you this weekend. Jenny was at the Creative Escape weekend I told you about. Vicki, Sharon. Oh, yes, I love the skin tone crayons as well. Hi, Beth. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Shar and Kathleen. Hello, Pat, Anna, Karen. Oh, so many of you on here. Thank you so much. Okay. Barb Baker says, let's do 1,000. Okay, we will do 1,000. And then for the next card, we'll pick something different. This actually is what I would consider my skin tone to be, just very pale, but has kind of a pinkish ivory, light ivory color to it. Whenever I have to buy foundation, I always look for something that says that it's a light ivory or pinkish ivory, something like that. I always seem to navigate to the lightest shade to be able to match my skin tone. Okay, I am going to add just a teeny tiny bit of color to her cheeks. And this is the light Flirty Flamingo, just to give her some rosy cheeks there. Maybe even on her nose as well. And then for hair, I think I'm going to use the Crumb Cake Stampin Blends. Yes, these, you might want to use some of these skin tone Stampin' Blends for hair colors as well. Can't remember who said that. Who said it? Gian. Yes, Flirty Flamingo. Isn't that a fun color? I always think, ooh, I would have fun naming Stampin' Up colors. So I went over the hair with the dark crumb cake, and I'm just filling in the white spaces with the light shade. You can even go in and do a different color, a different brown in here to get even some more. For example, you might want to go in with some of the soft suede, and that creates even more dimension. And of course, you could even use some of those wonderful skin tone colors as well. And I think we can do a little bit of blending right now. So I'm going to bring in some scrap paper here because, you know, with blending, we tend to go off the cardstock that we're adding color to. When I blend, I like to swirl my blending brush into the ink pad, and then I like to start off swirling on the scrap paper and move over to my cardstock, just like that. And you know, the more you swirl, the more ink you add, the darker, bolder the color becomes. All right. And let's add just a little bit of color to the background. I'm going to use just balmy blue, but in the lightest way possible, because her dress is balmy blue and I don't want to interfere with that. I want the sky to kind of accent that. Oops, see, that's way too dark. So if you make that mistake like I did, adding too much ink, just rub some off like that. And then when you're ready, move on to the cardstock. I'm going to go over that butterfly net because obviously the butterfly net you can see through, so we would see the sky behind it. And then as your brush runs out, you're not getting any more color, that's when you know you need to stop and pick up some more color from the ink pad. I also like to make sure I go right up to the ground or the grass, whatever I've added at the bottom, so there's no definitive white space between. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so let's finish this off into a card. I'm going to use dimensionals to pop this up onto my larger layer. Barb, I have to say, I think our quality of cardstock is amazing, and our designer series papers, I think, are just beyond measure. I think they're so beautiful. And I always, in fact, I was telling somebody this weekend at my Creative Escape weekend that I would love to be a part, you know, of a meeting with the concept artist at Stampin' Up. And now I'm ready to put this on a card base, just like that. Isn't it gorgeous? You want to jazz it up even a little bit more? How about adding some Wink of Stella, making her dress a little sparkly? Most little girls, not all. My Emily wouldn't have liked sparkles. In fact, she didn't really like dresses either. And you could even add some sparkle to the butterflies. Wink of Stella is just a great little add-on to any order. It lasts a long time, and it just gives a nice, subtle shimmer to your cards. Just like that. I'm not sure how well you can see the shimmer on the video. Yeah, it's hard to catch it on video, but trust me, it's there. Barb, I do not know the weight of our DSP. The good question, but no, I do not know the answer to that. And I think I'm just going to stamp a sentiment right in the middle because, or right on the inside, because the card front is actually rather busy. So to not take away from anything there, I'm going to add this sentiment to the inside. And I'm going to stamp it on scrap paper first to see how well I stamp straight. And I'm going to stamp it with our balmy blue that coordinates with the color on the card front. Oh, pretty good. I'm pleased with that. So what do you think? And look how quick and easy this was. It did not take a lot of time. All right, let's make another one. This time I'm going to change some things up. We are not going to use butterflies, but instead we're going to be using some hearts. Let me get these out of the way. And I will be giving some cards away at the end, or afterwards, I should say. Where's my other little packet? So I've got my basic white card base, just like the other two cards. I'm using red for my front layer, and then I have this. And we're going to do some different things with this. But before, I need to run those two pieces of cardstock through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So once again, I'm using the two largest Stitch with Whimsy dies. Actually, I might be able to put both of them on the same platform and do them both at once. Whereas with the first card, I ran them through separately. I think this will work. It always helps to be able to run more than one die through the machine at the same time if you're able. But when you do that, be sure that your dies are not overlapping each other, because if they are, you could damage your dies. So just make sure you have plenty of room between them. All right, so there's that nice stitch detail that you get with the Stitch with Whimsy dies. I'm going to go ahead and stamp on here, and then I'll show you the twist we're going to make, what we're going to do so we can actually turn the Catching Butterflies stamp set into Catching Hearts for Valentine's Day. And while I have this stamp out, I'm going to stamp, I want that net on a piece of scrap paper. So I'm going to stamp that now. And since I just want the net this time, it's not necessary for me to ink up the whole stamp. And you'll see what I'm going to do with that. I will add, once again, add some green grass. Oh, I know what I forgot. Did you see this little piece of Real Red Designer Series paper? I do need that other stamp one more time. This time I want to stamp the dress onto the Designer Series paper. Perfect. And I don't need to worry about the rest of this little girl. I just need her dress there. So now let me stamp the grass. This time I think I might just fill in some of this grass detail along the bottom a little bit more. Just gives it a little more detail. It's not necessary. Okay. Now, I am going to add some color on the background, but I just a teeny tiny bit. I want it super, super light. That's just me today. Just want it very, very light. This is going to be so fun. Okay, while I am fussy cutting, does everybody know what fussy cutting is? Fussy cutting means we simply that we simply don't have a die or a punch to cut something out. So instead, we cut it with our paper snips. But while I'm doing that, I need somebody to pick a different skin tone. We used 1000 on the last one. So let's pick one of our lower numbered shades. so that we can see something very different. And while you're doing that, I'm cutting out the dress from this Real Red Designer Series paper. And if you don't like fussy cutting, you at least have to do this paper piecing technique once in a while, because it's very impactful. I'm not cutting the hands or not cutting the hands out. I'm cutting the hands off. I just want the dress. You could do with this with all kinds of Designer Series papers. Because it's such a small image, I would say ones that have a small print would be best. Oh, we have lots of. Okay, it looks like the first one to respond was a 400. I see 400 a couple times and I see 200. Let's go with the 400 since that person was the first to respond. And with this 400 numbered skin tone, I'm just going to color in the hands, the legs and feet, and the neck and face. These skin tone Stampin' Blends are made just like our others, so they do have a finer tip, which I'm using now, and then the wider paintbrush tip as well, which I think I'll switch to as soon as I outline the face here. I imagine some people will even want to mix some of those skin tones to create even more shades. Let's see what happens if we add a little bit of our Flirty Flamingo here. Okay, that Flirty Flamingo doesn't show up quite the same. It's okay, but I don't love it. So I think I'll just go back over this. So I'll have to experiment with that and see which Stampin' Blend would create a kind of a, I don't know, a rosy or, yeah, just a rosy tone for that skin tone color. I am going to add, I'm gonna use this soft succulent for the eyes. And then I'm gonna add some dark hair. So I'm gonna actually use my blacks. I've got Stampin' Blends in light and dark basic black. And I usually do the dark shade first, but on this, I'm going to do the light shade and then go back and just accent some of that blowing hair with the darker shade. I'll need to play with these new Stampin' Blends as well, the skin tone ones, to see what kind of hair colors I could create as well. Coloring tools are my fave. I love the Stampin' Blends. Probably because they make me feel like an artist that I'm not. But it's just, they're just very easy to blend. Can you see how adding those darker lines change the look of that? Pretty awesome, huh? Okay, so let's go ahead and add her dress. This is called paper piecing. When you stamp on something on designer series paper, or I guess it could even be a different color cardstock, and you cut out just a tiny bit of it, that's known as paper piecing. It doesn't have to be clothing. It could be, you know, anything you can think of. Cars. Oh, I've got a fun slimline card for my free Friday download this week. And I did some paper piecing with that as well. Got a little glue there. Okay. It's my little gummy eraser. All right, now I said we need to make a Valentine-like. So I went ahead and previously cut out a bunch of these little hearts. And let me show you where I got these from. They came from the Sweet Conversations dies. Okay, in the Sweet Conversations bundles, you can cut out gobs of these. I took all these single ones and this one, and I was able to cut them out in one quick swoop of the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And to put these on, what I'm going to do, instead of putting the glue on here and then putting them on the cardstock, I'm going to just dot some glue onto my cardstock. And that's where I'll start by putting the various hearts. And remember, these are blowing in the wind, so you might have them going, whoops, sticking to my finger. Might have them going all different directions. Did anybody ever catch butterflies as a child? I have to be honest and say, that's not something I did. We would catch fireflies, lightning bugs. There's 6. Feel like maybe I want another one up here. Yeah, I think just one more will do it for me. So now we've taken the main image from the Catching Butterflies Sale-A-Bration set and some die cut hearts from the Sweet Conversations bundle. And now we have this cute, 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 oh, I know what I was going to do. This cute Valentine card. And we'll be adding a sentiment to it also. And we'll just pop this net up to give it even more dimension on that fun card. Oh, but you know what? Here's something I just thought of. Before we add that, let's do this. Let's take one of these extra hearts and glue it down on some white cardstock, and then let's stamp that net again. I just need the net part, so that's all I've inked up. But when I stamp this, I want to stamp it over that heart. So now, when I cut this out, so this looks perfectly fine, doesn't it? An empty net, she's trying to catch the heart, but here's where she's already caught a heart. Ooh, I'm so glad I thought of this, because sometimes those light bulbs come on at the most unexpected times. I'm just about finished with the card and I had that aha moment. How can I make it look like she's captured or caught a red heart in her net? So there's the difference. This is before she's caught a heart. This is after she's caught a heart in her little net. How fun is that? You see that, how I've popped that up? And now I'm ready to add it to the real red cardstock. And then I'll, oops, I guess I wanted to pop, well, that's all right, since I popped up the net. I'll leave it like this. And then I'll add these layers to my card front. And then I'm going to use another sentiment from the Catching Butterflies. And I love this one. You make my heart happy. This would be great for any time of year, but I think it's especially cute for Valentine's Day. Oops, I already got it out. So I'm just going to take one of my strips. This is actually a scrap. And I'm going to banner cut one end with my Banner's Pick-a-Punch. Oh, that one didn't come out so even, did it? Apparently I didn't have it in there even. That's better. And I'm going to stamp it with, ooh, should I stamp with black or red? I guess I'll do black since that's what I have out. I should have tested this. Oh, I love it. And then I'm just going to snip the other end like that. I'm going to add this. I'll add, oh, where should I put it? I'm gonna, maybe I'll put it right here. But I want to add a little bow with some white baker's twine. And this will finish it off. So we've done lots of things on this card. We've used our blending brushes. We've tried out a new Skin Tones Stampin Blends on a couple of the cards. I showed you how to show that a butterfly or heart or something else can be stamped on so it looks like it is caught in the net. I think I will do this. Oftentimes I use one glue dot for my bows, but the baker's twine is so thin, that knot is so small, that I think I'll just use that dot of glue and let it dry like that. Isn't that cute? All right, let's pull in the other cards. Who would like to win a card today? So let me think. If I remember correctly, this was number 300, this was 400, and this was 1,000. Would you like to see all of the colors? Let me grab a piece of scrap cardstock, and I can just go through and show you all of the colors of the new skin tone blends really quickly here. I need to scroll and see. Barb, I'll call Stampin' Up about the host code, but thank you for letting me know. And I do appreciate you using that. Joan, I think you're going to love the skin tones. Shar, I'm not sure why it's breaking up. It's not happening on my end. Oh, Barb, grocery stores are out. I see Sharon Ware and Kathy Fierst. Wow, so many of you. Jenny says she would love to win. Okay, awesome. Let me go ahead and show you the numbers in ascending order. So this is 100. They go from darker to lighter. Darker to lighter. 100, 200, 300, 400, and I will make a chart for this, which is helpful if you're buying new blends or you just want a quick glance. That's 500, here's 600, getting a little pinker, here's 700, 800, 900, and 1,000, which is the one we used there. So a really nice range of skin tones. And as somebody said, you might opt to even use some of these for hair colors as well. All right, these will be available starting next month, and they're sold in pairs. 100 and 200 as a pair, 3 and 400, 5 and 6, 7 and 800, 900 and 1,000 together. So if you're interested in these, you might start with whatever colors appeal to you the most for the cards that you make, and then fill in with the others as time goes on. Oh, Sharon says, wait, be good for animal colors as well. Yes, coloring those pets and zoo animals, all kinds of things. So already before they're even in the hands of customers, people are coming up with fabulous ideas to use them for skin tones and beyond, which is fabulous. You know, the more versatile our products can be, the better. All right. I will choose a winner for one of the cards tonight, and I will send that. Oh, especially bears. Yes. And there is a new stamp set with a grizzly bear in it. which would work. These would work well for that. So if you would like to win a card, what I would like you to type in the comments is catching butterflies. Catching butterflies. So that's the name of the Sale-A-Bration stamp set that you can get free with a $50 order. And you might choose to add the Stitch with Whimsy dies to your order for that. Just before I got on, Jenny Graber, who's watching tonight and was at my Creative Escape weekend, asked me, she knows I'm close to reaching a major milestone in my Stampin' Up! Career, and that is $400,000 in personal sales. And I am within $2,100 of that. So I'd love to earn your business. I'd love to help you with an order, or you can place orders on my website with the host code. But I am super excited. I work really, really hard. So I'm excited to be this close. Certainly never planned to start a business when I purchased a starter kit, but I'm so glad I did. Stampin' Up! Has brought me so much joy and so many new friends, and I just love what I do. All right, enjoy the rest of your evening, enjoy the rest of your week. If you're dealing with cold and snow, stay warm, and I will see you soon. I'll be back on Friday at 2 p.m. right here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. Bye-bye.